What's up, Final Fantasy fans? I would say I'm back, but I'd probably be saying that at the start of every video I put out with the pace I'm going at now. It's not even that I'm slow at all, it's just games take forever to complete, you know? I had to take breaks and... No, but seriously, this game is huge. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Picking up where Final Fantasy VII Remake left off, Rebirth spans the events of the Seven Gang leaving Midgar to embark on a journey across the planet to stop the mega corporation Shinra from exploiting its life essence, but also more importantly, to find and defeat Sephiroth. Hence, it's an open world game, and to get it out of the way, I do not have the same tolerance for open world games as I did before. These days, I prefer my games to be more condensed and not have Ubisoft-like checklists, which Rebirth does have. As you explore the vast world of Final Fantasy VII, there's going to be towers to activate, crystals to scan, marked enemies to conquer, and I'm tired of it. I've done this in other games like Infamous, Days Gone, Far Cry, Spider-Man, Spider-Man Miles Morales, Spider-Man 2, Horizon Zero Dawn. Don't get me started with Forbidden West. These all range from decent to great games, but open world games now need to start becoming more innovative because I'm sick of them being bloated with monotonous side activities. And yes, they are optional, but I have completionist OCD where I gotta complete like every surrounding side activity before progressing the main story, and it was really hindering my enjoyment of the game. Although the world is absolutely gorgeous in this game, I dreaded entering a new region knowing it meant having more crystals to scan to gather world intel like you're playing No Man's Sky. Who likes that video game? And most of this monotony is all connected to and done in service of...
My name's Chadley.
No! God, please, no!
You do remember me, don't you?
Nope.
Man, who thought it was a good idea to bring this white-haired twink back and give him more screen time and dialogue than any other NPC in the game? Everywhere I go, I see his face. He would constantly FaceTime you to congratulate and offer you advice on completing the most minute tasks. Get him out of the game. And here's the thing, this game also has so many mini-games and NPC assigned side quests, which I'll get into in just a second, so it didn't really need all these mundane chores. This game has so much fluff that if it were to fall off a 60-story building, it would be perfectly fine, unlike Wedge. Now, there is some side content that is actually really good, one being the card game known as Queen's Blood. It's certainly one of those mini-games that can stall you from the main story for hours, in a good way. Scanning crystals. You can customize your own deck by acquiring additional cards from purchasing booster packs and snatching other players' cards after defeating them in a match. It's very Yu-Gi-Oh inspired if you ask me.
Hope you didn't have your heart set on winning big tonight, cause I'm gonna whoop your ass.
Ah, that's a good one.
You won't be laughing when I'm done with you. Now draw.
It's time to
I thought it was a missed opportunity that you couldn't play Queen's Blood against this man and he didn't whip out a blue-eyed white dragon or something.
Seto?
But that's not the end of it. There's also Fort Condor, a strategic battle minigame that would have offered a nice challenge if the game knew that I still play Clash Royale to this day. It also has no idea that I was a Season 1 Fall Guys champion. Hell yeah, man. Rocket League. Where's my Rocket League fans at? What's that? You don't like Rocket League? Okay, how about Mario Kart? Everyone loves Mario Kart.
Last game you played.
Mario Kart? I don't know, what am I gonna say?
The variety in this game does not stop, and it's such a mixed bag. There are mini games that are just so goated, and then there's others that make you think that Square may have had psychopaths working on this game, because why is it the trigger buttons for the stupid sit-ups minigame? I still beat it though, because I'm a gamer. Now, the combat is essentially identical from part 1 with a few added mechanics such as the perfect block and more notably the synergy skills. With a total of 7 party members, any pair of them will be able to perform a special coordinated attack that will also grant the party some sort of stat boost. You got the best aspect of Chrono Trigger's combat incorporated into a more action-based game. I love it. I will say I found the difficulty of the normal initial playthrough to be far too easy though. I'm sorry, I hate to be that guy, but it was too easy. Every fight during my first run was forgettable and brain dead. I never really had to perfect block or utilize synergy skills. There were even a good number of times where the game would cap my damage on staggered bosses so that I wouldn't kill them before phase 2 initiates, not helping with my overinflated gaming ego here. Second playthrough hard difficulty was really the sweet spot for me. It had me utilize the combat mechanics to its further extent and made certain boss battles memorable. Not in terms of the battle's existence, but the strategy I had to carry out to overcome. And if you want to kick it up a notch, there are Chadley's brutal and legendary combat simulators, but nah, these are obnoxiously difficult. They pushed me to my gaming limits in the most unpleasant way possible. I'd be boasting about how this game's too easy, then get absolutely cooked by these combat sims. These challenges kept me up late at night for weeks. It wasn't even funny.
I should get some sleep.
Analyzing one's failures can prove instructive.
Wow, this kid really told me to get good. Well, maybe he should get good at being a likable character. Got him. For the record, I did complete all of his combat sims because you know. Anyway, let's finally get into the story. I want to say not much really happens in the narrative of this game, being the middle chapter of this trilogy remaking one whole story. You know, it doesn't have that engaging hook or fulfilling ending. Part 1 had the privilege of introducing dynamic characters and setting the conflicts in which they get thrust into. In Rebirth, the foundation is already established. Everything has somewhat run its course. As said in the beginning of the video, the group's ultimate goal is now to find and defeat Sephiroth. So basically for the entire game, they travel from place to place following these black robed men, hoping they lead them to Sephiroth and dick around wherever they find pleasant.
Yeah, but let's find a hotel and shower first. Then we can go.
You better not be suggesting we all hit the beach. Hey, I saw that. Don't go thinking I didn't. You two said it with your eyes.
The story definitely meanders for most of its runtime, but I'm not necessarily making that out as a bad thing. It's amusing spending time with this charming group as they ride wheelies around a resort, run around a theme park, and participate in a Queen's Blood tournament on a cruise ship. Events do transpire, but they don't contribute much to the forward momentum of the story. The game in fact concludes with our protagonist for the most part reverted back to status quo. This game is certainly more about just further developing the world, the characters, and their relationship with one another. And not only through their journey together, but also through players' decisions, putting more pressure on us when the game further asks, Tifa or Aerith? The right answer is Barrett. Yes sir, this man was my gold saucer date, baby. I prefer my relationships drama-free. I ain't got no time for.
I was so happy to see you again, but maybe I shouldn't have been.
What's that I hear? The sound of the world's smallest violin?
Or,
So, this Zack guy, you still like him?
Wow. You went there, huh? Maybe. He's never given me a reason not to.
Forget about that loser.
speaking of Zack though, the story will every once in a while transition to bite-sized sections following him. As established at the end of Remake, there is a certain timeline where Zack survives his battle against the Shinra army. It was an intriguing event to say the least. However, he really doesn't have much to do here, which is rather disappointing because I was hoping to get a clearer idea of how he factors into this narrative now that he's back from the dead, but I really didn't. All we know for certain is that he resides in a timeline where the world is ending due to Mako depletion and most of the Avalanche members are deceased. So he's just kinda hanging around, going through an existential crisis. We don't really get to see him cross paths with the main group and catch up with Cloud, which is what I was expecting to get here, so by the end of the sequel, I was left with the exact same question from the last game of, what are they gonna do with his character? His role and screen time here did not warrant him being on the cover of the game at all. Aerith should have taken his place there. You know, we got our main boy Cloud, Aerith, and then Sephiroth in the back like... What they're doing with Zack and the whole multiverse shenanigans, can't say I'm loving it. I didn't mind it in the first game, I actually thought it was quite a neat idea for a remake, but it's starting to frustrate me. They raise too many questions while answering so little currently, but you know, gotta see where it goes before judging the whole picture. It seems like they're setting up for something big, so who knows. There could be a gigantic payoff by the third game, and this 3-part remake series could be the greatest Final Fantasy experience known to man, but as of right now, it's convoluted fanfic mumbo jumbo. With all that said though, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth was no less than an entertaining experience. I feel like this video came across mostly negative, so I want to make it clear that I think this is a pretty great game. It's a great game with a lot of fat. More casual players who tend to cruise through the story and maybe tackle a healthy amount of side content would have significantly less issues with the game than I did. I actually found the pacing of the game to be practically flawless during my second playthrough, not having to do any of the side missions again. It truly is a magical game. I wouldn't have spent nearly 200 hours on it if I didn't like it. It's much bigger than Remake, it's better in most categories. This is what I want the future of Final Fantasy to be. I couldn't say the same with 16. When comparing just the two latest Final Fantasy titles, this is far superior. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is an entry with captivating characters, engaging combat system, and fun variety in its gameplay. It is the closest thing to my idea of a perfect Final Fantasy game. Enough said.